Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Friday, October 31st. Would that make it Halloween? I think so, folks, because Disclosure needs an enema. I'll tell you that one. Let's go ahead and take a look at who the heck we have out there in this chat. If I can actually see the chat, that'd be great. Who do we have out there? Let's take a look. We have Amiga Rules is here. Welcome, my friend. Craig Smith, Creativity from the Future is here, along with D7. Dragon Rider FPV is in the audience, along with Eliza Teal, Evan B. Oh, Enoch the Witness is here, along with Firefly, Gene Sticko. Good to see you, my friend Gene. We got Gray Hair Discoveries, Hawaii 5-0, Helldiver, Howling Husky, J-Cat, John Loop, Juliana Reverbal, and Kelly Broughton, those piercing blue eyes. Good to see you, Kelly. We got Liz W. Lon. We got Mr. X, Mr. Joey B's here, along with Nightshade Giggle. The Niles guys here, our resident Pitbull. Watch out, folks. You better stay in, because otherwise the Joker's not getting you. Niles guy is. Who else we have out there? We got Peggy and our South Florida friends. Big hugs to you and Crockett and Tubbs and Steve. Who else we have out there? We have Phil Shepard, Rob Harrison, Rodney Cox, Ross Colehart, Backside Probe. Oh boy, look at him. RTL 99's here, along with Rust. We got Anal. We got Scenic. Shelly Montgomery. Good to see you, Shelly. Shinobi One Kenobi Syrup, the Chromosome Cowboy. Turtlehead's here. Different from Turtle Boy, maybe? I think so. Two midgets on a horse coming to us from northern Idaho. And Wendy Joe, how about that? We made it in one full piece. On that note, Mike, Disclosure. How the hell are you?
Oh, happy Halloween, Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
Going to be an interesting show tonight. And also, it's still Halloween and Fuck You Friday. So.
Yeah, because we're still counting the days. Till disclosure happens. Is it ever going to happen? I don't know. Oh, we got to have fun with it. Oh, I spent hours today to get this working on the current version of Mac OS, and it's still broken. Halfway working. Killed OBS. Spent an hour getting that back to get the virtual camera up and going. Yeah, ChatGPT Mike loves to hallucinate these days when you're asking technical questions.
Oh, yeah. It usually hallucinates. At least it does for me.
Oh, it does for me, too. Wrong paths, wrong files, wrong locations. Then you prompt it and say, oh, it changed here. And it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, you're right. It did change. Yeah. What's gone from a great research tool has gone to something that's acts like it's smart, but it's not.
No, of course, it's definitely not. It's glitchy.
Yeah.
And it makes things much more complicated than it really needs to be.
Yeah.
In my experience.
Absolutely. Looks like Alice in the back has her hands up. Alice, what say you? Remember to put your hand down, please, when you're done.
Yes, I did. Oh, I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. What I was going to say about the AIs is they lie like sons of bees anymore. I mean, it's just flagrant lies.
They call that hallucinations these days, Alice.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's hallucinating like it's doing LSD.
I haven't found that one, but if they are, it'd be interesting to say the least. All right, to get in.
Happy Halloween, guys. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you as well, my friend. Oh, as we get into it, Mike, yes, it's Disclosure. It's Halloween. We are I guess this is our 5th annual Spooktacular. We've been doing a Halloween show since we started back in 2021. Was it 2020? Yeah. Don't make it 6 years. I'll have to go back and look at the dates and figure it out one way or the other. But either way, we're here to go ahead and have some fun and talk about stuff. All right, on our way to get to some UFO news, Mike, there's been a major shakeup coming in the paleontology area. Because, you know, paleontologists, like any ologist, never wants to change what they came up with years ago, right?
Right, that's true.
In the latest story coming from the debrief, a major shakeup in dinosaur paleontology reveals what scientists have all along called Tyrannosaurus is actually 2 different species, Mike, that they have been going... God, why am I not showing up?
And mixing them up to make one?
Yeah.
No, that can't possibly be true.
I need to fix this really quick. Where am I at? Get interview guest large. Let me get this. If I forgot to put myself here. Come on. Where am I at? Damn it. Oh, it's one of those things, Mike, and you get it together and you thought you had it right. I want to do a copy. Where's copy?
Yeah.
And I want to go, oh, yes, it's one of those days. I thought I had it all together, but I didn't. But you know what? That's all right. Let's go ahead and do a paste reference. Ah, there I am. Okay. We got it now. I can shrink myself down and get it back here again. And we can have some, why is that fucked up again? I don't know. Let's fix it. There we go.
It's okay.
We got to have fun, Mike. I know. You got a bunch of different stuff together. Back to what's going on over on X. Yeah, we're not focusing on, we are focusing on X, on what's coming in from the news, not from the trolls that are out there, because my God, Mike, where have they gone? I have no idea. I don't even want to know, honestly, to tell you the truth. But let's move on. Nick Pope, actually, Mike, showed up on Fox News this morning. Let's see if I can, hold on. I guess we can play it directly from Fox News, just a little 57-second clip. Let me see if I can copy this. See if I can get a download of this. Yeah, Downey. See if I can bring it. There we go. Is that it? There we go. All right. Are we alone for Halloween? Let's go ahead and get to this. Let's get this video clip up here coming to us from the latest over on Nick Pope. Showed up on Fox News this morning. I'll be talking about 3-Eye Atlas. Let's see where he goes on this one. Here we go, folks.
Well, today is the spookiest day of the year, and what better way to get a thrill than trying to catch a glimpse of an alien? New data revealing Washington State is the best place to be to get a chance at seeing extraterrestrial life.
Here to break it down, former UK Ministry of Defense and UFO expert Nick Pope. Nick, Washington 1, Oregon 2, Pacific Northwest seems to be where these aliens like to go, but I'm sure there's a better reason. What is it?
Wow.
Well, I think there are a lot of variables here, and I think it might have something to do with the sort of outdoorsy nature of those states up in the Northwest. You know, big, clear, open skies, a lot of people out hiking, sky watching.
Okay, I'm going to call bullshit on this one right now. I have to stop and call bullshit. First of all, what do we have in Eastern Washington, Mike? We have the Hanford reservation. It's out there. It's a site from the Department of Energy where they, I believe, Mike, they created all the plutonium or all the radioactive material for all of our nuclear bombs. Am I right on that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Also in Western Washington, about 35 mile as the crow flies out that way from me, a direct line, we've got the Bangor Island nuclear missile base where they have over, close to 1,200 Trident nuclear warheads, which each one of those, I believe, has multiple missiles on it. So we know that UFOs like, nuclear materials and military. So it's a win-win if you're looking for UFOs and disclosure around here. But let's see where Nick Pope takes it. Popes it for that matter. Well, we'll see where it goes. But I'm pushing back on that one because I know Tim would too, because Tim had another sighting that went on in that area, not that far from Bangor Island, where he had a warp place open up and a Tic Tac and other objects came out and sent his family for a tussle. So I have to get Tim to talk about that if he can. Let's continue.
So more people out looking around at things, more things get seen.
Yeah, Nick, I think if someone said, I believe that aliens are walking around among us, I believe that there's UFOs in our airspace, a lot of people would say you're crazy. What do you think?
Well, I think this subject has come out of the fringe and into the mainstream recently. I mean, we have hearings in Congress about this now. We have the newly formed task force on the declassification of federal secrets. They're going to be looking at UFOs. And of course, just very recently, the vice president made some fairly open-minded comments about this in a situation where this subject used to be an absolute third rail for politicians.
Yeah, J.D. Vance, literally to your point, coming out and saying, I have to, as vice president, help get to the bottom of this. I have to imagine that definitely removes the stigma about saying, hey, I saw something, I'm going to say something. Speaking of something, this could be something. Interstellar visitor 3-Eye Atlas making a mysterious move toward the sun in what people are calling a cosmic turning point. Those people could have just been our producers, but I'm going to say it anyway. The expectation is that this thing should break up when it goes to the sun because
no,
the
it's
sun,
not.
as we know, very, very hot. Things go near it, they break up.
No.
But if it remains intact and moves away from the sun, that could be a sign of extraterrestrial intelligence. What do you think it's going to do, Nick?
Oh my God, fucktards.
Well, you know, the simplest explanation is that it probably will turn out to be an interstellar comet. Hugely interesting in its own right, of course. But yeah, I'm watching this story very closely. If it does do anything really unusual, and it proves to be technological, it will be the biggest story in history. But if nothing else, look, this has got everyone thinking about this as a possibility. And that ties in, as I say, with the fact that this whole subject is now viewed not as kind of conspiracy theory or science fiction, but as a serious defense and national security issue.
Yeah, there is a debate taking place right now within the scientific community over this thing, 3I Atlas. Some people say it's a comet. Other people think it's something else. They think it could be a spaceship. Why do some people think it's that?
Because Avi Loeb's a schmuck.
Well, I think there are some unusual things about its speed, its trajectory, the fact that comets usually have a tail pointing away from the sun as they approach. This one had a sort of anti-tail. But you know, if we were sending a probe to another solar system, this is kind of probably exactly what we would do: a close flyby of the planets, and then see what happens. Ooh. So yeah, I'm watching very closely.
I think you said the key thing, though. If this story turns out to be not just a piece of space junk that's going to burn up and it turns into something, it will be the greatest story, biggest story of our lifetime. And Nick, we're sure to have you back. We will book you again.
Yes.
Yeah,
if it becomes
don't do any other shows.
Yeah, right. This is our show.
If this thing happens.
Former UK Ministry of Defense.
Oh my God, Nick Pope, what have you done to us, my friend? You know, what is going on? Why are you taking us down this way? We think we're kind of smart, aren't we, to listen to what you have to say sometimes? Gotta have fun with it. My God, what is going on with Nick Pope these days? We are not dealing with aliens, honestly. We're not dealing with aliens coming into our solar system. It's a comet, or more importantly, it's something that we just don't know about. We're humans. We forget about things. We've been on this planet for millions of years. We get wiped out every, 8 to 12,000 years, and we keep on forgetting everything that happened in the past. And all of a sudden, everything that's old that's been coming into our solar system is new, Mike, and it just seems like it's excuses for coming up with crazy ideas. What do you think?
Oh, for getting attention, for, listen, Nick Pope likes to promote himself. He doesn't have any actual content or any real disclosure that he's focusing on. So, yeah, he'll jump on the bandwagon of anything at this point that's in the news cycle.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
I mean, what it comes down to it, Mike, we're just a bunch of monkeys who like to throw nuclear poo at each other.
Which we both know the UAP are very interested in. Anything nuclear.
Oh, God, yeah. And that was actually brought up during the initial conversation, saying that, if the United States has announced, let me get back into something more serious. Here we go. The United States has announced, I think last day or so, President Trump said that United States is going to resume nuclear testing because Russia and China are still doing it. Even though we've been following the treaties that are out there at this point, we're going to start doing it, Mike, but I think there is a win-win solution here. Not only do we get to go ahead and test our nuclear warheads to see how they work, I think it may give us an opportunity to try and bring some of those UFOs down because we know exactly where they're going to be, when they're going to be there, and we can have the equipment to try and knock them out of the air because now they can legally do it, can't they? Because it's over a military base where there's a military operation going on, and they are fair game, aren't they?
Yeah, and Lou talked about that. There was a secret government project to lure the UAP out and try to use equipment to take them down. So if they want to do that moving forward, that would be great. What happened now is that that project was closed up. There was no funding. And they put it to bed. Now, if they're able to, with this new legislation, actually use it, that would be a good way
to... number one, we're going to set off the nukes. Number two, the law has been passed where actually it's going to be part of this NDAA that'll be signed eventually, that they will have the ability to go ahead and take these birds out of the sky. Let's see what they can find.
Well, hopefully, like that Burleson video of the Hellfire missile, hopefully it doesn't work out the same way like it did in that video if we do try to shoot them down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, my friend. Talking about aliens among us on our planet, ironically, the DNA of an octopus, Mike, is so foreign to anything else on Earth that the species could have come from somewhere else than Earth because their DNA is different. They've got, look how they can go ahead and change their camouflage. Their blood is copper-based, which kind of says they're not necessarily from our sun because all life on this planet, Mike, has iron-based based on our lives. So it's a very unique life form that probably came to us potentially from a comet or a visitor that brought it along with to go ahead and populate the oceans. You never know.
Right. And we turn them into a food dish.
Oh, God, yeah. I've heard about that. Now they're going ahead and starting to create farms for going ahead and growing octopus at this point. Not a good idea, especially when they're so intelligent. But look what we do to dolphins. Look what we do to a lot of the different life forms that are out there. Humans don't respect anything on this planet. We don't even respect ourselves. Heck, we don't even respect the planet for that matter.
Right. No, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
And that just seems to be the case moving forward. So don't expect any change anytime soon.
Yeah. I did bring up the whole idea of catastrophism, the stuff that goes on. There is a new person over on X who's gotten everybody's attention, Mike. And he has been doing some phenomenal modeling to kind of show what happens when the Earth does its big twist that happens every 6,000, 12,000 years, and that giant mile-high wave comes cascading over the planet.
Yeah, we've talked about it before.
Oh, we have. And this visualization has gotten the eyes of Dr. Ben Davidson from Suspicious Observers. You know, I hate to say it.
Yeah.
United States, South America, we don't do so good. Maybe 5% of the land masses survive. Keep an eye on Africa. Africa survives pretty dang well. And then you wonder, oh, is that why we keep on looking back and saying all humanity came out of Africa? Because it didn't get fucking wiped out by the every so often cataclysms that happened to our planet. Shall we show it?
Yeah, please do. This is a good video.
Yeah, here we go. Goodbye, United States. Goodbye, East Coast. Goodbye, Florida. Goodbye, everything else. Goodbye, South America. Central America kind of holds up. So does Mexico pretty well. But the overall United States, it doesn't hold up. China, for the most part, Mike, is completely gone. In this particular model, it looks like Australia Australia gets covered quickly. The entire continent, but then kind of fades back in much quicker than the United States. Now, just don't forget, this isn't the only thing that happens with the water coming and inundating the planet. The Earth will be in this position for thousands of years for that matter. But the Earth itself, also the surface of the Earth, Mike, decouples from the actual core of the planet and reorients itself because of the weight of the distribution of the weight coming from Western Antarctica and from Greenland. So a lot of things interesting to look forward to for those people who are hoping, wow, I can get to someplace safe. You can, but if you look at where the western coast of the United States is going to be, Mike, it's going to be down near the Arctic Circle and on the southern part of the planet.
Which means it's going to be a frozen wasteland.
Yes. You'll survive, but maybe not for long. Now, they're saying that Australia is safe. Yes, it's safe, but if you look at it, the entire continent
is
of
gone.
Australia gets wiped away, and then it cleans out pretty quickly, relatively. Now, this is a simulation. We know this isn't potentially clear, but you know what? Oh, yes, Firefly, no toilet paper again. It's going to be even worse. But it's what's happening. Science is happening all around us. And don't forget, we have that book by Chan Thomas that came out called The Adam and Eve Theory that talk about a regular catastrophism that happens on our planet. And more importantly, the CIA, Mike, when that book first came out,
they classified it.
They classified and took it off the public. They pulled it off the bookshelves. And when it finally came out again, they actually pulled a whole bunch of information from it. So it's a sad fact to say the least.
Well, that was during the 60s, I believe. We didn't have the technology that we do today. where we could see maps like this in real time, what would
Yeah.
happen.
Right.
All right.
And this is actually taken pretty long. It takes an hour for the initial setup of the AI system to handle this, then an hour to go ahead and get the meshes in place for the water and the action, and then hours to go ahead and render this thing out. So it's not like they can go ahead and throw a bunch of stuff at it, get it instantly. It takes some time. But I've seen some other things coming from him where it kind of shows where everywhere on the planet there is a Google map out there we'll have to go ahead and find that dives into the concept of catastrophism, more importantly shows where all of the different locations on the planet where there are ancient what do you want to call it, stories of a great flood. So let's move on. I guess, Mike, JD Vance came forward and he says UFOs could be spiritual forces as he vows to investigate the phenomena. I believe there are things we can't explain. If someone sees an alien, maybe I see it as an angel or a demon.
Right. Exactly. It's interpretational based on the individual.
Yes. Everyone sees things a little bit differently, Mike.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
That's true.
What else do we've got? Oh, yeah, here we go. Look at that. There's a show coming out tonight called UFOs Tonight. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea. Oh, God,
That's the
absolutely.
original, if you ask me.
Yes, absolutely. All right, turning back in time to an image that was taken back in 2022. This is an image of a cylindrical object that was taken by the mass camera aboard the Mars rover Curiosity on Sol 3556 back in 2022. Again, Mike, we've got something that looks like a perfectly round object that goes out. Doesn't seem natural to me.
No, that doesn't seem natural at all. Did they ever figure out what the hell it is?
No. You know, if they did, do you think they'd tell us?
No. Because
Oh, yeah.
NASA is now an intelligence agency.
Yeah.
So no, of course
No, Mike. As NASA would say, there is nothing out there that we don't know what it is. It's all natural objects that deal with the geological cycle that's going on.
Which is bullshit.
Yeah. Bullshit and a half. Let me see if I can find myself. Where am I at again? Let's get back to the vampire. Let's move on with this. All right. It's a smorgasbord of ufology today. All right. So the next one we've got legendary investigative Ross Coulthart, Mike.
Here we go.
Has
This is a good
acquired an FBI document that outlines a project addressing the national security risks from unmanned systems, aerial systems. Kind of like this is what Elizondo was talking about back in the day when Trump was running for office, right?
Yes, he was.
It explicitly classified unidentified anomalous phenomena as a subset of UXS. Oh my God, we've got yet another freaking acronym. There we go. This is highly significant as it shows the FBI is now officially distinguishing between conventional drones and UAPs. And don't you think they should be doing that? What the hell?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
Nothing new. So let's go ahead, and I believe I've got this file here somewhere. Should pop up. There we go. Let's get to this here, and let's go ahead and bring it up and dive right into it. Let me make sure we can see this. All right, we got that there. All right. Please use the following questions or a guide reporting. Include as many details as possible. So what we're talking about here is an unmanned systems incursions of DoD installations and defense critical infrastructure sites. Sounds like something we should have been tracking since 1947, Mike. I bet you we have, but yeah.
Not as far as the public, though.
No, we haven't. So the FBI is launching a cross-programmatic threat project in response to potential for state and non-state actors to use unmanned systems, UXS, against U.S. national security interests, in particular the DoD facilities and defense critical infrastructure sites. Therefore, the FBI requests that all DoD partner, including the clear defense contractors, to report all incidents of UXS incursions to the FBI through the eGuardian platform to collate reporting. DoD facilities and DCI sites have noted an increase in UXS incursions over the recent months. The capabilities of UXS are unknown, but may be intended to disrupt operations or to gauge U.S. response capabilities and policies. Past noteworthy incidents, combined with other intrusions of restricted airspace at various DoD and DCI facilities, have highlighted a threat to DoD installations, personal technology, and other DoD equities. Mike, I have to wonder, why aren't they mentioning anything about the DOE if this is where all this stuff is actually stored? Is the DOE part of a DCI facility?
No. DOE is separate from DOD. You and I know that. We've covered it plenty of times. The DOE should be covered in this, but for some reason, you're right, it's not. I guess they'll deal with it on their own.
Daryl Zernick, your hand is up, my friend. Enlighten us.
I just want to point out it's actually now the DOW. That was it.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for clarifying that. Department of War. You never know where it's going to go.
I just want to make sure we're, reporting the right stuff.
Oh, yeah. And that's also the Gulf of America. Let's be honest. All right. So federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial law enforcement entities, DoD fusion centers, and CDCs with access to eGuardian should use eGuardian as the uniform reporting mechanism to capture and share information on all UXS incursions. The FSLTT partners are encouraged to tag the eGuardian report with USX incursion to make it easier to identify. The FBI eGuardian system is used to document, share, and track potential threats, suspicious activity, and cyber counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and criminal activities, collectively incidents among the FBI and partners. Now, the DoD is required to use the FBI eGuardian system for incident reporting per DoD I 2000.26. So it sounds like that's been out there for a good, 25 plus years. Let's move on. Right. Request an open eGuardian account can be made, all right, for all of the private sector companies. Report incidents via https://tips.fbi.gov using the reporting guidelines on the following page. So I guess if people are seeing things, Mike, and they want to get that information to the FBI, there is a way for average citizens to go ahead and report that to the FBI. That's encouraging.
It is. It's about time, too.
Oh, you would think.
Yeah. Like you said, it should have happened already.
It's ultimately necessary, my friend. So let's move on. All right. So UXS incursion reporting guidelines. Let's get to it. Please use the following questions to guide reporting. Include as many details as possible. First one. What was the location of the reporting party when the suspected UXS was sighted? Mark the location using geocoordinates or a map application if possible. So they want the XY Latin long location of it, Mike.
Which is typical for any type of military engagement. They usually have the long and the lat. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was the start and end time of the event? Has the reporting party attempted to verify the suspected UXS was not any other kind of object, flight tracking and celestial objects applications like, flight tracking and other stuff along those lines? If the UXS operator were observed and or interviewed, what information, including any biographic information, was obtained from the individual who potentially reported this initially to the government? Note the location of the operator in relation to the DoD DCI facility, indicating details such as the range of the UXS, the operator line of sight, and the view of any sensitive facility equities. So they want to know what could potentially have been seen by this object when it was in restricted airspace. It makes sense. Let's move on.
It does.
Yeah. Was the UXS visually or audibly detected? Did you hear anything? Did you just see anything? Please attach any photos or videos to report if available. What was the direction and bearing of the UXS? For example, north or south? Did it move, hover, or fly fast in one direction? What type of UXS was observed? Fixed wing, multi-rotor, rotary wing, hybrid, triangle, orb, which are not saying here, or unknown. What was the shape is what they're looking for here. Like my smile has a good shape. Oh, yeah, absolutely. What other details were observed? For example, the color or pattern of lights, number of location of lights, path or movement behavior. Oh, yeah, it was hanging out there for a period of time, and then all of a sudden it just shot off in an instant, and it was gone in a blink of an eye. If anything was attached to the UXS, what did the attachment look like? Did it resemble a sprayer, antennas, a small rocket, weapon, or a box? If anything fell, launched, or released from the UXS, what was the altitude? And what was the path of movement of the items released? We've seen plenty of UFOs dropping other orbs, other things. I think they just want to know if there's anything coming off it, where could they potentially find it?
Right.
If the released item was recovered, which agency or individual currently possesses it? It's up a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. All right. What type of UXS detection systems exist at your site, if any, is more like it? Did it or did it not detect the UXS? Please include whether the system collected any information from the UXS, including XML files or movement paths. And for the DoD only, if a UXS mitigation system was used, what was the system name, time and duration used, and outcome? Where was the USX operator located when it was used? In what direction was the system pointed during use? So they're talking about those Ghostbusters packs, Mike.
Right.
They go ahead and shoot down, that they use to go ahead and shoot microwave energy at these objects to kind of bring them down, not trying to kill ghosts, but they do call them Ghostbusters devices, don't they? Eco packs.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into
It's not going to have any effect. All of these incursions before, they weren't able to track it or bring it down.
Nope.
It's not going to be any different.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be. So the DCI sites and DoD facilities defined per the National Security Memorandum -22, DCI is defined as a DoD and non-DoD networked assets and facilities essential to protect, support, and sustain military forces and operations. DoD facilities include U.S. military bases and installations such as U.S. armories and arsenals, U.S. National Guard facilities, U.S. spaceports, and U.S. ports and rail yards used for defense shipping. So, Mike, they are definitely not interested in anything going on at the DOE, which the question begs why. Is it too tough?
The DOE is self-sufficient. If you remember when the director of the DOE testified before Congress, and we covered that as well, she was asked a direct question. Does the Department of Energy employ military special forces units? She didn't want to answer it, but she eventually was pressed into it when she said, yes, we do. So they're independent and they can take care of themselves in the event of an incursion over their facilities.
Right. Yeah, it's a freaking mess on that front. I got to figure out where the hell did I put the channel at? Give me a second here to go ahead and dig this up for a second. Your channel. Let's get to that. Let's go to this one. Let's get to that. Let's go to this one. Okay, got it now. I had to figure out where the hell did I put everything at here? Analytics. Okay, now we're in the back. We got it.
Yeah, and while we're waiting, for everybody that is enjoying the content on the show, please like and subscribe. We have 247 people in the show right now and only 34 likes.
Oh, wow, really?
Right, Thomas?
Yeah, well, that looks absolutely right, my friend. Hopefully the people on our show will go. Actually, we have 82 likes at this point, Mike, but you did bring up a great point. Please like and share and subscribe. If you're watching the show, having a good time, please go ahead and like and subscribe to their broadcast. Nick, your hand is up, my friend.
It's in a video in the back chat. It's I think it's a good one, actually.
What is it of?
It's of Reggie Ross talking about the age of disclosure, and basically saying that there's some pretty good stuff in the documentary, basically.
All right, let's see what we can get here without crossing the lines of fair use, which we are pretty good at maintaining, Mike.
I know.
Give me a second to go ahead and bring it down. Thank you, Nick, for breaking out this breaking news piece. It's probably somewhere in my feed, but we'll get to it. All right, let's see what we have going on here. Okay, we got a minute 27, possibly coming from Reality Check over on News Nation to go ahead and cover this, Mike. I'm going to go ahead and put this up with our usual. Oh, no. Oh, shit. My downstream keyer is gone. Oh, well, that's screwed. So I can't put up the fair. Yeah, oh, God damn it.
Well,
give me a second here.
Thank Shelley Montgomery for the $10 super chat.
Yeah, we do.
DT is the place to be. Thank you, Shelley.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shelley. Let's go ahead and get this back to, where am I at? I'm trying to get to, all right, test video. No. XX.
There's
all right.
Transformative work, fair use up on the
I got it. There we go. This will work for the time being. Here we go, everybody.
This is a pretty heavy-hitting documentary. I'm excited. I do think that there are claims in this film that haven't been made before. I understand one of the claims is that Russia recovered an 80-foot-long Tic Tac with bodies and directed energy weapons. There's also a claim of a Vatican cover-up. There's also expressed concerns about how Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, was briefed on economic fallout. And the claim is made that the CIA and the Department of Energy have run the crash retrieval program since 1947 post-Roswell, that UAPs have indeed disabled nukes, that there's been technological risks, weaponization, justify the secrecy, or so-called, but they demand the release of this information for the purposes of obtaining clean energy and solving climate problems. I do think it is disclosure on steroids. It's potentially a hugely significant mainstream film that will reach an audience that to date has not yet engaged with this subject. And I commend Lou Elizondo and Dan Farrar, who are the joint executive producers who have produced this film. It's great to finally see it getting to air, and I sincerely hope it has the effect that it should have.
Mike, I'll let you talk about this for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's fine. It's interesting what Russ is saying, that he feels it's going to move the needle on disclosure. That would be great, but when they had the premiere at South by Southwest, people who actually watched this documentary, they said that there was really nothing that they saw in the clips or in the documentary they watched that actually did move the needle for disclosure. It was primarily a lot of talking heads, people that were putting out versions of what they've heard, even though they have a lot of credibility and a lot of credentials. There was no hard evidence, which is a key point that people make when anything is presented to them. They are looking to have proof beyond a shadow of a doubt, not just speculation and hearsay.
Yeah.
So I understand the frustration.
What also gets in the way, Mike, is some of the people from the prior Biden and Obama administrations are actually being brought up on charges for lying to Congress, which kind of takes some of the things that they're saying and it kind of throws it out there, because now we have people who have knowingly lied to Congress and other stuff. Are they telling the truth here, or are they just spinning another tale for a paycheck?
That's a good point. And I'm sure when this eventually does come out and the public can see it for themselves, they're going to make similar points and raise similar questions. How could they not?
Yeah.
Are you amazed that the Treasury Secretary was actually briefed on these things? The Treasury Secretary was actually briefed, which is a pretty huge statement to say. Like, would you say, Thomas, the Treasury Secretary? That's pretty huge to say.
I mean, in the past, you had the Director of National Intelligence who was briefed on this and talked about this in the past, right? So we've had really good statements from the old Trump administration in the past. The guy is now the head of the CIA, isn't he, Mike?
Treasury Secretary.
Yes, he is, yeah.
Treasury Secretary is a pretty weird person to like.
The who?
The
Treasury Secretary. Treasury Secretary said something?
It's not like he was briefed on the UFO topic.
I haven't heard that one.
Scott the Stunt was briefed on you.
No, like Steve Mnuchin.
Okay. We'll get to it. Daryl, you had your hand up, my friend?
Oh, I was just going to echo Mike's sentiment on the, I don't know. It seems like Ross is just reporting. I mean, just like the picture looks like right now, like he's just getting older, trying to find something to the next big thing that he can throw out there and keep News Nation happy. Anyway, my thoughts.
He's under contract, Daryl.
Right. You got to produce.
He does. If he wants to earn that paycheck, he's got to come up with something.
Right. He's looking a little tired right here.
You think?
Oh, he is. Yeah.
And then some.
I got to tell you, I know that he recently did an interview with Gene, and he's heading out to South America, I believe. Isn't that right, Gene? He told you he was going to South America after this?
Yeah, that's correct. So we recorded on Wednesday, and hopefully airs in the next couple of weeks. But he was going to be traveling.
Yeah. Yeah, he's bouncing back and forth between South America, Egypt, Timbuktu. He's like back and forth all over the planet. That would explain why he's turned almost all gray. Now, I've known Ross for a long time now, and I got to tell you, he's been always thinning on top a little bit at his age, but he wasn't all completely gray. He is now. So all that traveling is really starting to add up and take its toll on him. I can see that in this video. I've been on video conferencing with him when he was home or walking his dog, and I could tell you that he wasn't all gray like this, not at all. He really looked like he aged in a short period of time. So he should probably slow down a little bit and take better care of himself, I would think. I'm just really surprised because I'm looking at it in high definition right now. And yeah, it's not. I talked to him directly a few months ago, and he didn't have this amount of gray hair on him back then. It changed from then to now. So he really needs to maybe pace himself. Yeah, thinning a lot. I know it was thinning before, but he had on the top, it was still all filled in. Now it isn't. So yeah, I'm seeing these changes in person, and I'm surprised. Well, listen, when you are running around as much as he does at his age, it doesn't really help.
At any age, Mike. Hell, I've aged in the last 10, 15 years. We all have.
Are you kidding me? We've aged in the past few years with everything that we've been having to deal with. I know.
Absolutely, my friends.
I aged just in the last second.
All right. Well, with a headline like "Did Human Life Begin on Mars?" Mike, you know who this is going to involve?
Oh yeah, Elon.
Nope, Avi Loeb. Let's see where Avi takes us in this one. This is a few hours ago, and Avi's already talking about the acceleration that wasn't observed about 3i Atlas. On that note, let's go ahead and not that one. Here we go. Let's go ahead and jump into this next video, friends. Here we go.
Professor Loeb wasn't finished. He went on to talk about a Manhattan-sized interstellar object. He's been on the show talking about it a lot. It's called 3i Atlas. It's currently making its way through our solar system, and we've been tracking its progress very closely, especially because Professor Loeb suspects that it might actually be alien technology scoping us out. And for those who like a side order of conspiracy theory with their servings of UFOs, he claims, Avi Loeb does, that NASA is keeping critical evidence about 3i Atlas away from public view. Professor Avi Loeb joins me now. What's NASA potentially hiding about 3i Atlas?
Well, on October 2nd, 3i Atlas came closest to Mars, within 30 million kilometers. And the high-res camera on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter took several images of it. These are the highest resolution images we have, 3 times better in spatial resolution, about 30 kilometers per pixel, compared to the previous best image, which was the Hubble Space Telescope image. And that was a day after the government shutdown took over NASA, and we haven't gotten the data. And my point is that the politics of the day should not sabotage science. They have the data. They should share it with scientists. They can wait with any press release. But for the scientists to analyze the data, that would serve an important purpose of helping us design the future observations of this object. I should also say that the news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun. And it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets.
What does that tell you?
Well, that is not the most unusual fact. It actually is bluer than the sun. And a blue color usually indicates very high temperatures if the light is emitted by some hot surface. But the sun is 5,800 degrees Kelvin above absolute zero, and it's very difficult to keep a surface hotter than that. In fact, an object at the distance of 3i Atlas from the sun could only be 20 times cooler than the sun, so it should be redder. And any dust.
But so what does that mean, Avi? What does that mean if it's hotter than the sun?
We have another anomaly. The object is bluer than the sun, which we don't fully understand. And as of a few hours ago, the first hint for a non-gravitational acceleration, meaning something is affecting its trajectory beyond gravity, was indicated. And so what I'm telling you is that there are new facts about this object that make it even more interesting than it was before. You know, before we knew it moves in the plane of the planets with a very small likelihood. Then we realized that it's very massive, about 1 million times more massive than the first interstellar object, Oumuamua. And then there was nickel with very little iron detected around it, the way we find in industrial production of nickel alloys. And then there was a jet from it towards the sun that was also anomalous. And then there was polarization from it that was never seen before for comets. So there are all these indications.
Bottom line, there's a lot that is making you continue to be very intrigued, a lot about this thing that makes it look like it might be something not quite natural, but we don't know yet. Avi Loeb, come back once we get that NASA image. And also, I'd love to hear more from you about why you think maybe we all originated on Mars, but we'll leave that to another night. Avi Loeb, great to have you on. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Interesting conversation, eh, Mike? It's always like Avi Loeb to go ahead and bring out some information for us all to dive into and not believe, especially on Halloween.
Yeah, that's true. But I think a lot of what he's putting out there is mostly hype. There's really nothing to back it up. And as far as pushing the narrative that this is alien technology, I'm not buying it.
There's nothing that shows it. It's an interstellar object. It didn't speed up when it went by the sun. It didn't come in on a special angle to go ahead and get close to the sun. There's no reason it would melt down on it. There's no acceleration coming out of it yet. Yes, Jan, I think you called it out. He's full of himself, let's go ahead and say. On that note.
That's true. But we want to thank Rick Roberts for a super chat.
Oh, God, yes. Thank you very much, Rick. We appreciate the super chats. And Mike, look, we've got another video coming in talking to us about George Knapp and his segment about a crash retrievals that have been orchestrated out of Area 51. This should be interesting.
Yeah, this is a good one. It is interesting.
Before we get to it, Alice, your hand is up.
Yes, the 3i did accelerate after perihelion.
Really?
Yes, it did. That just came out early today, I believe.
Yeah, there have been some speculations on it, but I haven't seen any true scientific observations of it yet. We'll see what goes on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anytime an interstellar or an object in space goes around a large planet or body, and it gets to the other side, it gets a gravity push.
But it's not
So-
even going ahead, Mike, and swinging around a sun or a planet to go ahead and get additional stuff. If the center of our... God, this is hard because I'm doing reverse. If Barney Rubble's our sun, right? If something were to slingshot, it would go ahead and come close to it and slingshot out the other side, right? What we're dealing with here is an object that's going along its path. It disappeared from our view. It's back in our view, and it's going straight. So we haven't seen a change in trajectory yet. We'll see where it goes as things move on, but it's not like we've gotten any kind of any special signals heading our way that, hey, we're here, we're coming for you next. But
Thomas,
Right.
it was a non-gravitational acceleration while passing the sun.
and who was reporting that?
I did a Google search. Right
And who's
now,
reporting
says yes. Pardon me?
And who's reporting it?
I don't know how to look at that. I'm so sorry.
All right, not a problem. We'll get to it. If it's something that's going on.
NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory observed 3I Atlas exhibiting a non-gravitational acceleration during its close pass by the sun, reports News Radio WFLA.
Okay, we'll have to double check because I know for as far as we're understanding, JPL is shut down right now. We'll see where it goes.
Sorry about that.
No, not a problem. Thank you. You know, there's always a lot of speculation on these things. We'll just have to find out where the truth is and if it's going to happen. Either way, it's an interstellar object that we're just not familiar with. And it's okay to say we don't know what this shit is sometimes. We always want to put something in a box.
Now they're saying we have to see what the outgassing was. It's always something we're waiting for. That's what's irritating me with this thing.
Marcus, it's not the Nazis. All right, let's go ahead on this one. Let's go ahead and jump into this next story. Here we go, folks, coming to us from CBS 8 out of Vegas. And George Knapp. Let's see where he takes us, folks. Here we go.
Oh, this is interesting.
I know. Here we go.
That fell from the sky and crashed just near Area 51. And tonight, the public is still in the dark.
So that crash was quickly covered up, both literally and figuratively. 8 News Now Chief Investigator George Knapp thinks the official story, as told by the military, is false.
And we are lucky because George joins us here in the studio with more on what he's now dug up. George?
Well, how quickly might the government respond to a crash of an unknown object? What happened back on September 23rd on public land outside the boundary of Area 51 is a textbook example of how crash retrievals work. And to no one's surprise, pretty much everything told to the public since then is pure fiction.
You can see this in F-18.
Scanners and computers inside this room listen to and record radio traffic inside Area 51 round the clock. On the morning of September 23rd, York Arnu heard some astonishing news.
Had my cup of coffee and I'm listening to Area 51 security, and all of a sudden they get very serious. Locked down the base.
Arnu learned there'd been a large but totally secret air operation in the middle of the night and that something had gone wrong.
So we just had an asset go down. We had an asset go down. This is not Creech security, this is Area 51 security. And they had an asset go down. And then the next thing.
Yeah, clear. Also, short be advised, it's a UAV, unmanned aircraft with ordnance.
He picked up details about strict security measures which were implemented almost immediately. Not only was Area 51 itself locked down, but within a very short time, so too was a large swath of the Tikaboo Valley. It became clear that some kind of craft had crashed miles outside of Area 51's boundaries on public land adjacent to Highway 375, also known as the ET Highway. Arnu jumped in his truck and headed south from his home in Rachel. But while driving on what's known as Mailbox Road, he ran into an armed patrol.
They had the gun in front of them, not pointed at me, but very visibly in front of them. And it was clear they meant business.
He backtracked and headed south on the ET Highway to Groom Lake Road, the main entrance to the base. It too was blocked off by sheriff's deputies and military security. A military helicopter with an attached basket was sitting there, presumably ready to haul out wreckage of something. A pair of porta potties suggested the team planned to be there for a while.
Almost the entire...
I would say, if anything, just to go back to that helicopter, Mike, that looks like it's a rescue helicopter, not necessarily something that's there to go ahead and pull something out, is it?
No, you're right. That looks exactly like a Coast Guard rescue helicopter.
Yep, something that's a
equipped the same
rescue.
way.
It's got the thing on the side. I guess they want to go ahead and call it out and say, you know what? Look, it's go ahead and pull out any potential wreckage. But I think that helicopter is a bit too small to pull at any kind of a craft, if you ask me.
No, that's if they have, let's say, an experimental aircraft that came down and an injured pilot or pilots, they want to be able to medevac them real quick for medical help, especially in the middle of nowhere. They'd have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what it's for.
Exactly. So let's continue on. Here we go, folks. Sorry for the interruption. I just want to go and call it out so our audience can see the things that we pick up as well, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely.
The haul-out wreckage of something. A pair of porta potties suggested the team planned to be there for a while.
Almost the entire Tikaboo Valley was shut down.
At the Little Ailey Inn in Rachel, employees were in the dark about a crash, but saw the beefed-up security at closed-off roads and knew something big was unfolding. Crashes are not an everyday occurrence out here, but locals have seen plenty of them over the decades.
If this thing would have crashed anywhere in restricted airspace, in restricted area, we would have never known about it.
After being turned away from the presumed crash site, Arnu and the aerospace sleuths on his website, dreamlandresort.com, began gathering and sharing bits and pieces of information. The FAA had ordered the closure of airspace over a particular spot in the valley. That was a big clue. Then 4 days after the crash, the security teams vanished. Arnu went back out for a look. The Air Force had used heavy equipment to plow a dirt road across a section of desert. Arnu followed it and found what he thought was the crash site, then shared it online. That's when things got strange, even by Area 51 standards. A second wave of cleanup crews descended on the site, presumably to pick up any remaining debris, but they also used graders to cover the entire area with a thick layer of dirt, literally a cover-up. Creech Air Force Base, which is home to a fleet of Reaper drones and other UAVs, issued a statement explaining that the, quote, unmanned aircraft was one of theirs. The same statement claimed someone had been tampering with the crash site and had scattered assorted pieces from other aircraft, along with an inert training bomb. The Air Force said the FBI was investigating this alleged tampering at the site. Arnu was amused but not convinced.
The only thing they could get that person for is littering on public land.
That's the story, is it came from Creech and now the FBI is investigating. You think that's bogus?
That's absolutely bogus. I think that was designed to make people not go there.
Arnu drove back out and realized the site he first videotaped was a staging area, not the crash site. 200 yards away, the telltale burn marks on Joshua trees indicated this was where the object slammed into the earth. Both he and another aerospace explorer found pieces of who knows what, debris that came from something other than a drone, seemingly planted to confuse anyone who came looking. But they also found pieces under the dirt that are likely the real thing.
I'm pretty sure that this piece came off the actual aircraft.
Arnu, who was at the site of a genuine Reaper crash years earlier, says there's no way the Air Force could ever recover every piece of a crashed aircraft, so they added some dirt and sprinkled in some misdirection instead.
If I were them, I would probably do just that.
Is there a good guess about what crashed? On the Dreamland Resort website, members, including former military and retired defense contractors, chimed in. The leading theory is that the drone was one of a latest generation of AI-controlled craft that accompany advanced fighter planes and can act independently to get the job done.
The Next Generation Air Dominance project is the big thing at Area 51. So the pilot flies along and says, hey, there's a target on the ground, Drone 1, go check it out, and if it's a bad guy, take care of it. And Drone 1 goes and does the rest.
If the military wants to keep a secret about strange things that fall out of the sky, they have many tools at their disposal. Lock down the base, seal off the public land, put out a cover story, sprinkle some disinformation over the whole thing. Arnu says the middle-of-night operation that ended with the crash is one of the biggest he's ever heard of, nicknamed Black Flag. He has a good idea which hangar at the Area 51 base houses the unknown drones, but is not willing to say more. It is, after all, almost 3 years to the day since FBI agents kicked in the door of his home and carted away his computers and cameras. No charges have ever been filed. Back to you.
And George, what I really like to say is there's so much more behind a press release, right? That press release that came in, the first one that we talked about here, said it was an incident, didn't even say it was a crash, didn't even say what it was. So there, really shows you how investigative reporting can go a long way.
Like X-Files right in our own backyard.
And George wants to take Denise and I out there on a bus tour, so we are thinking about
Sign us up.
Hey, if you missed any of that report, don't forget you can always watch all of our stories on our 8 News Now streaming channel.
Interesting story, Mike. Gotta love George Knapp for him trying to go ahead and bring out the truth.
He does a great job with it. You have to give him credit.
Yep.
And he also, is not a young man anymore. And he's still hard at it. So good for him.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that.
Absolutely, my friend.
Doesn't slow down.
Oh. He isn't, but it sounded like there may have been some health concerns for him around the time that he was actually out there going and testifying. It sounded like he was I almost got the impression like he was carrying around oxygen with him.
Oh, I didn't see that, but
yeah.
At his age, anything is possible. I know he already retired years ago and said he wasn't going to come back out publicly, but Corbell managed to convince him to keep up what he was doing. So he came back and he's now moving just as strong as he ever did. So good for him.
We love you,
It's
George.
Nice to see him.
Look forward to.
He's very credible.
We look forward to him reporting for us for a long time out into the future. Let's say that.
Well, you know what I like about his reporting? He doesn't hype anything. He doesn't exaggerate or overblow it or look to grift money from the public. He will simply say, yes, this has been a cover-up for over 80 years. Yes, he's investigated it and talked to the government, but he also at the same time doesn't hype anything up. He says, we're probably not going to get disclosure. This has been going on for too long. Don't hold your breath. So he tells it like it is. I appreciate that for a change.
Oh, God, yeah. Got to appreciate that from anybody who tries to bring out the truth and give us some interesting facts that aren't part of the mainstream, eh, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. In our next
hyping it up to something it isn't.
Exactly. In our next piece, this one's coming from Jason Wild over on X, someone who doesn't necessarily go ahead and make something out of nothing, or nothing out of something for that matter. Let me see if I can get this in a place I can actually read it. Let's get to it. So back, scientists recently in Egypt pointed infrared cameras at the Great Pyramid expecting to see cold, dead stone. What they found instead stopped them dead. 3 massive limestone blocks glowing with heat while everything else around them sat in darkness. The readings made no sense. The entire structure should have cooled evenly overnight, yet these stones pulsed faintly like something alive beneath the skin of a world. Now, that's the thing about anomalies, is that they whisper before they shout. When they repeated the scans apart, the pattern held in place. Precise zones of warmth running along the same vertical lines as the pyramid's inner passages. Granite chambers rich in quartz and magnetite. There are minerals that can turn vibration into electrical charge, and they sat directly behind them. Jason thought it must be random, but it was pattern, almost like a body's circulatory system, still pushing current long after the heart was supposedly to stop beating. Now, if you take the tomb story and look at the engineering object, the heat actually makes sense. The Great Pyramid was designed around frequency of angles, tuned to Earth's geometry, cavities shaped for resonance, and the materials chosen for conductivity. It's a giant machine. When the energy from the planet, like seismic, geomagnetic, or even solar, moves through those channels, the stone converts that pulse into heat, and what we're seeing today isn't decay at all, it's residue. More like evidence that this thing has once actually functioned. There's a lot of stuff what's going on with the pyramids, and whatever the Great Pyramid was, it wasn't a monument to death. It was a living instrument, one that may be still faintly resonating with the planet's shifting magnetic field. When we point our sensors at it and at those warm spots, we're not finding a mystery of heat. We're finding a pulse. And as you said, the Great Pyramid still breathes, which actually takes us back, Mike, that if the Great Pyramids themselves are seriously a machine that was here to help with the geomagnetic excursion, it's been robbed, looted, anything that would be useful for getting this thing up and going on the interior has been ripped out by man. And if there were any instructions on how to use this thing, Mike, they've been long destroyed, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. But Dave C is saying that my audio in the back chat is too low. Can you raise the audio levels for Google Meet?
That's up all the way now. If it was a little, go ahead, talk now.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Well, you're off
C.
the markets right now. Okay.
Is there anything any better? Yeah.
We're at the same. You know what? I had an extra audio coming in through Snap Camera. That's the problem.
There we go.
So now I turned it off. We should all be the same. Is the echo gone now, Dave? See? It should be gone. Sorry about the echo. Yeah. I think we're fine to move on with our next story here, Mike. Interesting Halloween today, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, you're right. Not bad. I like that pyramid story. That was really interesting.
Yeah, I did too, Mike. You know, the interesting thing about all of this is, you know, there's so much to the world that we just don't know that it begs explanation. And, you know, we can't take the answers that were given to us by scientists that clearly didn't have a clue what was going on.
Okay.
Yeah. But, there we go. Catastrophism again. Let's pull this one in, coming from Open-Minded Approach, someone else who's on X who deals with the thought of the catastrophism. If we go by Martin Luther's chronology, the seventh day begins around 2040, meaning that the start of the calendar is 3961 BC, according to his calculations, and the year 6001 corresponds to 2041. So the Masonic reign should begin by 2041. That means a geophysical event should occur before the year 2040. So, Mike, looks like we've got some great things to look forward to, especially with the video we were playing earlier.
No way in hell.
We start in the water and we end in it, and it's a wash, rinse, repeat cycle. Unfortunately speaking.
Hell of a way to go. My God.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah, doesn't take long. Doesn't take long, especially when you've got a mile high wave coming your way. There's no way getting away from that.
Unless you're in a plane.
Yeah.
And then you can go, 5 miles up. You won't get hit by it.
Yeah. Well, we did talk about J.D. Vance earlier on, Mike, and the interview. I thought he had this interview earlier. And it seems like they're reporting on it again, but this is J.D. Vance. He's a big believer there are things out there we can't explain. We talked about this clip earlier in the show. I've got the clip here. Let's go ahead and play this for our audience and see where it goes. Here we go, folks. J.D. Vance talking about how he potentially sees aliens or non-human intelligence. Let's move on. Here we go. Is that it? Long a little bit. Almost there. We got it. Play it. Here we go, audience.
One last question about UFOs. So I'm a mad UFO lunatic as well. Yeah. So, and you said, I think the Ruthless podcast that you were going to, in August, you were going to figure out what happened. So have you
was a little tongue in cheek. I've not figured it out yet. I haven't had the time to figure it out yet.
But you've got access to all this.
I do. And I really want to sort of dig into it. Marco's actually very interested in this too. We talked about this talked about this back in our Senate days. So yeah, there's certainly an interest there. There's certainly an intrigue, but I haven't yet had the time to really dig in. Things have been so busy, but this is the crazy person inside of me. And there's, all of us put the tinfoil hat on from time to time. I was like, I can't allow myself to become so busy that I spend the next 3 years and I don't get to the bottom of this. So I will get to the bottom of this, but it's going to take me a little time.
Because Tulsi Gabbard says that she believes there are aliens. Do you believe that?
I don't, it's interesting. I wouldn't say that I do or don't believe it. I mean, I'm a big believer that there are things out there that we can't explain. And so if another person sees an alien, maybe I see an angel or a demon. So I'm a big believer that there are spiritual forces working on the physical world that a lot of us don't see and a lot of us don't understand and a lot of us don't appreciate. But, is it aliens or is it our guardian angel, or is it aliens or is it a not so guardian force that doesn't care about us or in fact actively wishes us harm? I don't know the answer to that question. What I try to do is I try to say my prayers. I try to be as good of a person as I can be, and I try to do a good job. And hopefully that's all I need to do.
You know, Mike, he talks about things out there that could be spiritual in nature. Take the word spiritual, which puts a religious connotation on it, right? And put in the word consciousness. And that's what everyone's been talking about, relative, isn't it, to everything for the non-human intelligence, that the consciousness is interacting with us, affecting us in a way that he's talking about. Now, JD sees it as something that's religious, and that's his choice, but there's a lot of people who see this as consciousness, not related to religion, but the end game is the same, irrespective of how people go ahead and interpret it, right?
That's true. But I have a side question. Is Miranda a dude? She's got man hands, and look at that profile. I don't see anything really female about this host.
No, she doesn't look like a dude.
She does to me.
As much as Trinity does.
The big nose, the man hands.
Look at Laura Ingraham
right.
from Fox News.
Okay.
Similar stature.
Okay.
Definitely a chick. That's okay. There's some tall, more sternly looking. Take an example. Susan Goff. Her sweetheart.
No. Oh, God. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marcus. Go for it, dude.
Yeah.
You would? I bet you're a better man than I am, Gunga.
Oh, my God. Where is the audience going
I think
today?
back in the day, Mike, they called that a handsome woman.
No. But
yeah, I like that, Gene. Good point.
Yeah.
I just have to add, since Gene busted in there, this is the same reporter that got Trump to say, when she said, "Why don't you just release the UFO files?" and he said, "It's really not up. It's not a big deal."
Right.
No, but he said it's really not up to. It's not a big deal.
Yep. No, we caught that. We played it. Yeah.
Same person though, so maybe somebody to look out for in the media world.
No, she did good reporting with that. I remember. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Good point, Gene.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she does good work, whatever the story may be.
Yeah, Mike, before we get to one of the things we're going to talk about with regards to the abductions that I went through when I was a kid, I actually have here one last video where we've got Getty Schwartz from, I believe he's from NBC, going ahead and talking about the peer-reviewed paper from our friend Dr. Beatrice and where that's taken us recently.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get this up and play it, and here we go, folks.
All right, for the future of everything, now to what might be the most consequential news of the week, of the month, or even the decade, or the century. Bear with me. I know I get a little bit stoked about this stuff, but there are two scientific papers that just dropped that absolutely blew my mind. You know, there's been so much talk about whether aliens exist. You got the UAP hearings, all those black and white military videos, drones in the sky, then obviously AI making things even more confusing. Well, for me, there are two papers that are out right now that just cut through all of the noise by going back in time and taking a look at sky survey plates from the 40s, the 1940s and 1950s. Basically, these are pictures of our night sky and all the stars night after night before humans ever sent anything into space. This is pre-Sputnik, pre-Apollo, like nothing metallic, nothing reflective should have been orbiting planet Earth, right? Well, guess what? There were lights in the sky that they still can't explain. They call these transient. Sometimes they were there, sometimes they weren't. Take a look at this right here. So this is the night sky, September 1952. September 1952 on the 14th, a little bit later. July 1952. All of these three, they look the same, except for right here. What the heck is that? What is this little blob of lights? It wasn't there, and then it was. This is where things get weirder. These papers found that they were most likely to be seen, thousands of these, most likely to be seen when nukes were being tested here on Earth and when lots of people reported seeing UFOs. Again, this is before we ever launched a single satellite. this picture right here, the dates around this, the one that we were just talking about, the dates were around a time when UFOs were seen for several hours over Washington, D.C., the White House, the Capitol building, air traffic controllers. They reported seeing them on their radar all around those dates, July 1952. And joining us now is one of the authors of both of those papers, Beatrice Villarroel. She's an astronomer at the Nordic Institute of Theoretical Physics in Stockholm. Beatrice, thank you so much for being with us. Congratulations on both these papers. Let's start with as simple of a question as possible here. These lights in the sky from before Sputnik, were these artificial objects orbiting Earth before we were ever in space?
From what we see, these kind of transients or flashes that you see, they have a very interesting feature. You usually get these kind of flashes when you have something that is very flat and very reflective, and let's say in a geosynchronous orbit at, let's say, 42,000 kilometers
wait, hold
altitude.
on. Very flat, very reflective in geosynchronous orbit. That doesn't sound
around the Earth,
natural,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, and the funny thing is that we can show that there are solar reflections because there is a deficit of them in the Earth's shadow at these altitudes, and that means that at least a fraction of the transients of these flashes that we're looking at, like 30-35%, appear to be due to these solar reflections of such objects. And if we think about that, these transients come from images taken before the first human satellite, they do look pretty artificial. Although I would say that nature can always surprise us with things that we just can't imagine right now.
But I got to ask you, there are thousands, tens of thousands of these, if I understand it correctly, maybe even more. What did you think when you started to see a correlation between nuclear testing that was going on around that same time, also these UFO sightings that were happening around the United States? That correlation, did that stick out to you right away? Were you kind of sketched out by it?
Well, like the first time when we saw that, it was by coincidence. My friend David Altman, he tells me about Washington flap 1952, and then by chance I discovered that our best candidate when we were looking for our land transients also came from the same Washington 1952 flap, just from the other weekend, because it was distributed over 2 weekends, and I was like, this is weird. And then that was what formed the hypothesis that we wanted to test. Is there a correlation in time between these transients and UFO events? And we see it's a weak correlation, but it's statistically significant, and we find that.
I mean, you strike me as a very open-minded scientist, which is what science is supposed to be all about. But what do you think this might be?
Well, I mean, here we can only speculate wildly. If we look at the numbers, like just from the Northern Hemisphere, we have 35,000 transients. I don't know how many of these come from what. I mean, one object could give several transients, but it's also possible that we're missing a lot of transients. So I would estimate it to be somewhere between tens of thousands to maybe 100,000 of objects, or 100,000 of objects or so around the Earth. And artificial is a possibility. Who knows? Like if it's some ancient space trash from some past civilization, or if we are having some probes that came from another planet. I don't know. I hope that some astronomers that are like well trained with working with this kind of data. I'm talking about professional astronomers that will want to try to redo the same analysis, both with Palomar, but also with other surveys and other plates. I mean, other plate surveys in particular, because that could really be helpful. Because we need to see if this result can be replicated with other surveys, and if it is, then it's going to be extremely fun, or not.
As a human on planet Earth, who made this discovery, what's the significance to you?
I just want to know what these objects are, and I want to know why they are here. So I don't know really what I can say. It's just I'm curious, and that's it.
And that is science. Beatrice, thank you so very much for joining us. And again, congratulations on those papers. They are incredible.
Interesting conversation, Mike, always to hear from Dr. Beatrice.
It is. You're absolutely right about that. I think a lot of what was left out has to do with what you and I are aware of in regards to the work that she's been doing.
Correct, sir, yes.
She detected 100,000 of these objects. She said a third, which is about 33,000 of them, seem to be non-naturally occurring objects, meaning it's not rock, it's not a comet, it's not ice. It is something that is metallic with specific shapes that reflect the sunlight.
That's
and how
correct.
she was able to determine that is that they were only visible when they were not in the umbra or the shadow of the earth. And as soon as they passed through the shadow, that's how she was able to see that they were no longer visible.
Well,
That
don't
proves-
forget as well, we had people involved with the CIA who were going to some of these different sites and destroying the evidence.
Oh, Donald Menzel,
Yeah.
who was running the Harvard Observatory and took the glass plates and was literally fucking smashing them in the parking lot. Asshole. And he worked for the Central Intelligence Agency. Yeah, you're right, CIA. So, yeah, they were really, at that time, the government did not want this information to come out publicly.
No,
so the
they
only way
didn't,
they
Mike.
could safeguard it was by destroying these plates, which they did. But she was smart enough to find an identical survey at the Palomar Observatory, and she found it. So good for her and for being able to uncover it. And now we also know why Menzel, and they refer to it in science as the Menzel gap. He
Correct,
was
sir.
there running it from 53 to 68 or 69, and he did a lot of damage to irreplaceable 100-year-old pictures of the sky that can't be replaced, at least from the Harvard Observatory.
Right. Well, they found, and luckily Palomar Observatory was actually going and doing the same
Doing
thing.
the
So
same
he
survey,
got one
yeah.
taken care of, but he didn't figure out he had to get all of them taken care of. Thank God.
Well, yeah, because he was limited to what he was in charge of for the astronomy department of Harvard at that time. So he only had access to their plates that he was
Correct, sir.
actively destroying. Yeah. But now, because she found this survey from Palomar, what is not necessarily public at the time, and you and I are well aware of it, is that she's also looking for similar observatories around the world that have done similar studies like the one at Palomar to confirm what her research has shown so far. And when she's able to do that, that will, I think, get everybody's attention.
It should, my friend.
Oh, hopefully.
If you can, we have a
So-
couple friends in the back with their hands up. First, Daryl, and then Gene. Go ahead, gentlemen. Daryl, you're first.
Yeah. So this stuff happened. The plates are like from 70 years ago. I guess inquiring minds want to know: is this stuff still going on?
That's a very good question. And a lot of people ask if that's the case. So the problem that Beatrice is having is that at the time that this survey was done, before we achieved spaceflight, before we had satellites orbiting around the Earth, it was clear pictures
Misinformation is
of
back.
all around in space around the Earth. There was no garbage, no objects floating around. It wasn't a junkyard like it is today. So because of all the technology that we put up there and all of the debris, it would be very difficult with today's technology to able to locate those transient objects and establish them today like she was able to do from 100 years ago. But she's working on it, and there's going to be ways that she might be able to do that. Thomas and I are working with her to try to see if we can make some headway with that. But that's all behind the scenes stuff. It's not public yet.
There's a lot of things that are behind the scenes, Mike, that we can't talk about. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're right about that. I wish we could. It's so dead and slow out there. If we were able to share the things that we know, it would move the news cycle again. But, you know, we have to remain silent for now. But hopefully there'll be progress made and things will come out soon.
Yeah. I would hope there would be, Mike. I really would hope there would be.
No, there's going to be. It's just a question of how long is it going to take? That's the problem. And until they're able to come out publicly with the evidence, we have to remain silent. So it's getting there. Time will tell.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If I want to get rid of this stupid thing, I have to move my camera all the way over here so I can get rid of the baby thing out of my face here.
Yeah. You said Gene had a question now?
Yeah, Gene, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. You know, I'm here in the Boston area, so I've been diving into the Harvard aspect of it, you know, a little bit more. And it gets more and more fascinating because not only was, you know, Menzel had that association with the CIA, but he was also on the Atomic Energy Commission, as was the president of Harvard. So It looks like the president of Harvard was appointed first. Within a couple of, and he was on the Energy Commission. Within a couple of years, he appoints Menzel to the observatory, and then you see the Menzel Gap, as you call it, as it's named.
As it's named, correct. No, that's very good points, Gene. Yeah, it seemed like Menzel, that fuck, he got around and did a lot of irreplaceable damage, which science will not be able to recover a lot of those things. Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but, you know, listen, the intelligence community obviously did not want anyone accidentally discovering that information, but Beatrice found a way to find it on her own, so good for her. And she also got the papers published and peer-reviewed in the astronomy journal. So she's now established with this work and this research. It's not hypothetical anymore. So good for her. And at least it gets us a little bit closer to the truth about what's really out there around the planet. And it's not ours. So very interesting
I guess it takes us down to the question, Mike, whose is it then if it's not ours? You know, because remember, we had LM in here, and I hope LM does get the help he needs, because really, he really does need that help, Mike. Seek a local practitioner, please. If you don't feel comfortable, ask your wife to help you. Mike, we go ahead and look at these kind of things, and we just have to say it's a slippery slope, isn't it?
Very. It really is. Anything to do with disclosure, anything that the government does not want the public to know about, it gets very slippery all the time.
Right.
We're well aware of that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're still up against it until something changes.
Yeah.
So we're trying.
Exactly. Now, Mike, one of the things we got Gene taken care of. We got everyone's questions answered.
Yes, we do.
All right.
So now we can get
this
into
is the point where
your segue. Yep.
I have to move a little bit more this way, and I have to push this off. Oh, God damn it. Push this. There we go. Let's just push it off to the side a little bit. I have to go ahead and turn myself into a kid again for this one, so I can get into the right mindset, Mike, if you'd call it that, for that point, for this point of the conversation. It gets hard to talk about. When I see myself, how I look, it doesn't exactly look when I was a kid, but it brings it back, and the emotions just start flooding, and it's hard to talk about it sometimes, especially when I get into this mode where I'm putting myself back in time to a point. So, okay, let's turn the clock back to 1973. It was a hot summer. It was one of those nights where in the Midwest, the Chicago suburbs, really hot and humid during the day. In the evening, it'll kind of cool off, but it's still humid. It's still hot. We had a whole house fan, just like we have here in my house where I live now. And we had that running for hours. We were down in the basement for a while watching television. We only had a window air conditioner down there to keep us cool. When you go up to bed, we all go upstairs and go to the primary level. It was a raised ranch house. And we had the attic fan going, I remember. And I specifically remember my dad going and shutting it off. Yes, Niles guy. Addison, Illinois. Actually on Medina Road. Let's see if I can bring this up.
And just so the audience understands the gravity of what you're saying, you were 5 years old at the time, weren't you?
I had just turned 5. Yes, sir.
Right.
So let's go to maps. Hold on, see if I can do this. Maps.google.com, and I'm going to freak myself out. And I'm going to look for 5N211, which doesn't exist anymore. Manana Road, Addison, Illinois, 60101. But if you go to the people who have gone and doxed me, yeah, they don't know where I grew up at. So let's go ahead, and I want to go ahead and drop myself down to right here. Oh, I'm sorry, that's my grandmother's house. This will be part of the story. God, I can actually bring this up. Wow. This one's freaking me out. Okay, so let's go down there. It's my grandparents' house. Let's go further down. And I believe, there's the pond that was right next to my parents' house, which means I am going to jump onto this road right here. It's called Anila Street or something. I'm going to go up a little bit farther right here and go back right here, because these trees that are right along here, Mike, are the same trees that were there when I was a kid. And the big tree's actually back in here still. So right at this scene, let me bring this up, see if I can bring this up bigger. Let me take and put myself here. And I'm really going to fuck with my mind at this point, putting myself back where I grew up. All right. So summer of 73 is the best I can tell when this took place. I'm laying in bed. I've fallen asleep. It's hot and it's humid. And out of nowhere, a wind came in that took my mom made some really heavy duty, almost like a burlap or thicker curtains. They were golden color in her bedroom. She had made it that year. And when she put it together, she put it up there, and I woke up, I heard the wind going, and it was a strong gust. Let's say the curtains were almost like this to the window, flapping in the wind. I opened my eyes, and I was like, fuck, and I didn't say fuck, oh my God, it's a tornado. And I throw my covers back. Forget my mom or parents. Forget my sister who's down in the other room. My brother's off spending the night as his cousin Billy's down the street. And I run to the basement. I throw my covers back, jump out of the bed, run out of the bedroom, down the hallway, around the corner, through the kitchen, down to the hall, down to the basement door, fly it open, go running down the basement door, down the basement stairs. And I put myself right in front of the old big console television set. I think it was still black and white in those days. Probably 25-inch set, 22-inch, whatever it was, big wood grain Zenith. And I'm there and I'm breathing. And I'm freaking terrified for my life. And as I'm looking forward, all of a sudden, a bright white light comes in the room. Comes in. But when that light hits, it doesn't blind me. And as I'm freaking talking to you now about this, it put this feeling of euphoria of any time I think about it. Makes the hairs around my entire body as it flows in and just puts you in this euphoria where you don't care about shit. And then, for some reason, seeing the light coming in didn't hurt my eyes. Don't remember that. Most important thing, there was no sound. Nothing whatsoever. So I get up and I walk towards the basement door to go outside by my house. It was a raised ranch, so it was like you come out to a little area that's like three, underground, not underground. It's like 3 steps down underground because it's a raised ranch. I came out to it. I walked up. I remember seeing the concrete. It was damp from the dew. Walking across the yard, underneath my mom's clotheslines that were there. Then going ahead and getting up to where past one of the maple trees that was there, and seeing the spider webs on it and the sparkles that were coming off it was really, really just pretty. I thought, I was like, oh, wow, it's so pretty. And then I get out towards the front yard and I look up and there was this massive thing above me. This way. This massive thing above me, slowly turning with lights on the bottom. And then I remember a part where I can see where you're kind of putting your hand into it, that the sparkles that were there were like golden color. It was a white light, clear, but as you remember going back and seeing the trees and seeing the spider webs and the sparklings, it was this weird light that illuminated, but it's not like there was a shadow there coming from this stuff. So back to the spot, I'm looking up. I get kind of pulled up, and then I don't remember going up into it. Like, how the hell did I get up into this thing? I remember being pulled up. It's like you're just there walking, whatever it is, and all of a sudden you're getting pulled up, but you've got that weight on you, but you're not in control. The next thing I remember, I'm in a tight space where I couldn't move left or right. I couldn't move forward and back. I could see out what was going on, but it was there, and I could see there was other things like that I was in next to me and across, if you want to call it, the hull from me. And I get pulled out of that, and I get drawn to the right, down a hallway. I don't remember the doors, whether they open like this or open like that, but I went into it, and I remember going off to a left. I was on a table. I had bright lights above me and going through different, if you want to call it, meditations and try and figure out. I was in god-awful pain, and I was in pain to a point where it snapped me out of that daze that I was in, and I was screaming for my life. And I had two things down by one by my foot, one off to the side, and I had another one up close to me. And I remember a voice coming into my mind saying, "It's okay. We haven't left. You'll be home soon." And then from there, it was like being in that craziness to all of a sudden where I'm like looking out of a window down at my house. I could see my house from 80, 100 feet up. And I could see the front yard, and I could see the tree that was in the front yard and the whole thing and the whole bit all around it. And it went from that, and I felt like something was behind me at that time on my right side. And it went from that to all of a sudden, I'm looking out the window after it's told me, it's okay, you'll be home soon. I'm back on the ground, walking in the wet grass, coming around the front corner of my house, and I can see one of the ornamental evergreens my mom had. And it had like these little red berries on it. I'm not sure what the hell it was, but it was something that was there. And I saw that, and I walked around, getting into the house, coming to it. I don't remember walking back in to the house, but I remember then sitting on the chair by, the old rotary phones. We had like my dad had built a desk by himself, kind of like next to the staircase where it came down. It had an old red rotary phone on it. And as soon as I was sitting on that chair, I remember my dad running down the stairs saying, "What are you doing making all this noise? Get your ass up to bed." Now, this is after all of that stuff had gone on. I'm back in the house. The white light is gone. And all I can kind of pull this into is when that white light was there, time stopped. My time didn't stop. Everyone else's time stopped. When my dad heard me running through the hallway, through the kitchen, down the stairs, that's probably when he got his ass up. He went to chase after me. But something happened where his time stopped, mine continued, and it went on for a while. Now, here's the kicker. I've gotten all these memories back to me as flashbacks. But all the flashbacks came in a different order from what they finally happened. I've had nightmares at that time. It went on for years, where I'd be in my house. I'm in my kitchen with my sister Janice, and they've come back, and they're going to take me away, and I'm frightened because I don't want to go away. I don't want to be disappeared. So I run out of my backyard. I go to one of the driveway. They're already there. Go back to the house, run to the back part of my house. And then from there used to be a field here. And I ran out from where my parents' house was out to the field, ran down the field all the way. And I remember seeing an interesting thing about it wasn't night. It wasn't daytime. It was this grayish kind of a time. Now, it was like fall because of the state of the weeds or of the prairie grasses and stuff behind me. But then I got to my grandparents' house, part of safety. And I ran through the back sides, up to it. My grandfather had a little pond here. You can still see a fish pond and stuff. Ran to the right, around the trees, back to my grandparents' house, and I freaking pounded on the door, and it was locked. I couldn't get in. And every single time in every one of the dreams, pull myself in here if I can. There's my grandparents' house. I got right past, I ran between the houses, going towards the center circle out of here, and every single time in my dream, I would then, as soon as I got past this car where it is here, I would get pulled up into the air, and it would go black. And then my dream would conclude with me falling into my bed, and I would wake up and remember all of it in a sweat. And this went on for so many years to count. I can't tell you how many times I went through it, but it was always this recurring nightmare that was going on ever since the stuff started when I was 5. And the stuff started when I was 5, and it went on for about 3.5 at least over 3.5 years. I went through this stuff, and it wasn't until my mom was dealing with issues with insomnia, and my dad found something called civil mind control. She went to it. She took me to it because she couldn't go ahead and find someone to take care of me. So I went to it. I learned how to go out of body. I learned how to do a whole bunch of different stuff. And ever since I learned that, it kind of took some of the stuff that I was going through on a regular basis and kind of shut it down. I'm not sure if it was what I needed to do, but either way, it stopped, as far as I know, the events from happening now. When I was 5 years old and I went to kindergarten, actually 5 years old from going to be 6. I went to kindergarten. I'm going to go to first grade. Went to my doctor. He looked at my if you want to call it, fingers. He said, "Oh, wow, you've got a bad you're what do you call it again?" Basically said, "You're autoimmune. You have an autoimmune issue going on." Not sure where the hell this came from. Just got to keep an eye out for it. And it was running crazy for years. I had horrible things going on with my digestive system and other stuff. It was just a lot of things that all went to it that all tie back to this. It's something that's there. It's something that's part of who I am. But it's also the main reason why I do Disclosure tonight, is because I went through this for so many years. And like so many people out there, we all want answers. We want to know what this shit was, what we went through. And to talk about it, because the more you talk about it, the more it gets easy. But when I bring myself back to look like a kid here again, and I put myself back into the places, the emotions, the fear, all the different stuff just runs through it, and it's a challenge. But you just have to go and do it because it makes you stronger for what you're trying to go through. And more, this is something, I know this is just Halloween, we're sharing it today. It's something that I don't talk about on a regular basis because every single time I get there, it's traumatic, and I have to open it. I have to open the Pandora's box, and whatever comes through, you deal with. On that note, one more thing. The memory that I have coming out of the basement, walking across underneath the clotheslines, they all tied to specific changes in my mom's landscaping she made, moving their frickin' garden, where she had it to the north side of the house, where then she moved it out way to the front yard. Now, when I remember going up and seeing the big thing across, I was standing in the front yard on the railroad ties my brother had brought in to make the garden. So I know that was about when I was 8 years old. But I remember the other stuff when I was about 5 years old, and there's other stuff that goes in between. So there's multiple things that all kind of tie together that, based on the memories that I've got back, and when I was in my 30s, I realized, oh shit, it's a complete loop. And all I've gotten back is I've gotten little pieces of information that represents that whole loop that I went through way too many times. And I see that dream that I had way too many times. It was a recurring nightmare that went on for years. I have a feeling that was just something that my mind played back when I was going through the shit that was actually happening, because I was always trying to hope to escape, but I never could escape. But when I fell back into my bed, that was literally me falling back into the bed as many times as I did. This is nothing that anybody would ever want. And if you ever think this is something you'd want, you need to get checked out, because this is nothing you would ever want. I've got health issues that I've dealt with. I've been told that I have cancer. I've been told that I've got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I've been told that I've had leukemia, too many times to count. They always come in and they look at my stats and all the stuff, and they say, oh, wow, Fessler, or Tommy, or Thomas, you're abnormal, but inconclusive. That was the statement that I've gotten so many times. I'm just used to it now. No one can ever figure out what's going on with me. Got to laugh at it, but it's the truth. So if this comes to the fun part now. For the audience who's out there, I've gotten some super chats and other things. If you have a question, throw it up in uppercase, and I'll answer your questions for you on this.
Well, thank you for sharing this very emotional story of the trauma you suffered as a young child. The audience understands, and I'm sure appreciates that.
Yeah.
The only point that I could add to that story is, even if we get disclosure from the government and they reveal something, the one thing that I will never do is get into the whole abduction angle of disclosure. That's not something that will come anytime soon, in my opinion, because of the story like yours and many other people out there as well. It's unfortunate, but it is the truth. So, thanks for sharing.
Did I see the aliens? Most I can remember is seeing a hand with some kind of band on it with black sleeves. So that's all I can remember. I don't remember the faces. And I'm going to call that as a
selective memory.
Well, it's a memory where it's blocked out, but I don't think I want to see the faces. I've already gone through enough of this stuff, and I can go and take myself in regression. But the stuff that I learned from Silva Mind Control was basically a form of self-hypnosis. So I can get this stuff. And the thing is, Mike, when you unlock the stuff in a regression, it never goes away.
Yeah, and you don't need that kind of sustained trauma.
No, I've already got enough of it. I remember driving to work. This is probably about 10 years ago. And as I'm driving to work, I get down to one of the stoplights close to where my office was, and I look down, and I have the interior lights in the car set to red. They've never been set to red again, because I look down, I see this light that's close to red, that's by my left leg, and the fear that poured in through me, the terror that came to me, was because in that little space that I was in the ship, or whatever it was, there was red inside that.
Yeah.
And
so
just
it
seeing
triggered
that instance at another point, you get the little points, you get the flashbacks that hit you.
Yeah, it was a trigger.
Did it stop suddenly or gradually? As far as I can tell, it stopped suddenly. Thank God. Got me through 3rd grade. And I had such horrible problems, Mike, with my bowels and everything. It made my life fucking hell.
Oh, well, that pretty much goes without saying, Thomas.
Yeah.
And we want to thank the super chat from Todd T, $10.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. No, I started coding probably in 6th grade. That's when I got my first exposure to the TRS-80 Model 1. And I started coding then. And I haven't stopped since. All right. What was the hand chalky white? Yeah, was the hand chalky white? Yes. 100%. Was it long, bony fingers? Yes, 100%. Was it not human? Yes. That's what I would say it was, because it doesn't look like any hand I've ever seen my entire life. Oh, there we go. Turn off auto. So yeah. Stop suddenly or gradually. Wow. You want to do a regression? I've already seen a lot. I guess I could go and connect more dots, Mike, but I've got a good understanding of what it was. And I think a lot of our memories are locked away for our own protection.
Yeah, it's true. Look at what Mel Remis in the front chat said. Abduction terror forced me into alcoholism. So at least you didn't go that route.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be my ex-wife who did that for me, but you got to appreciate it. A lot of people have PTSD and they find different ways to deal with it.
By self-medicating, usually.
This seems to be generational. Any in family have experiences? Not that I've heard.
Good question.
Now, my brother Ron has seen stuff up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in the past. In dams, my brother was up there hunting one time with his other cousins and stuff, and they ran into something again in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So there have been things that have been seen. But my sister and I did see one thing one time, a light coming down in the field behind me, and the field behind our house. Went out there, looked to see if there was a spot where it had, flattened, but we didn't see it. But it could be generational. I don't know. Did they take my mom when I was? Who knows? I mean, when Daryl, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Dude, that is so weird that you just said, "Did they take my mom?" Because the whole reason why I raised my hand was to ask you if you've seen. Are you familiar with that podcast, Really, with Tom and Dave?
No.
Yeah, I am.
It's that guy. I'm trying to think how they.
Dave Thomas from SCTV.
SCTV and
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Really with Tom and Dave, episode 10. There's a woman in there that they both know. She was a writer or something, and she had told them her story, and she hadn't told the story to very many people. Didn't want to tell the story, and it's just so weird that you just said that, because anyway. It was a generational thing in her story, but what I was going to tell you about is, did you hear the story? Because you know how you can hear some people's stories and they're very genuine, like your story is very, very genuine.
Right.
This woman's story is extremely just as genuine, but it's all about her being visited by these aliens in her bedroom a few times, and then her mother going to her mother the next day and saying, "Did you know what was going on?" Something like that. And and she relayed to her like later on in her life that she had a similar experience. Anyway, Real with Tom and Dave, is it? Real with Tom and Dave? Anyway, episode 10, I'll put it in the back chat later.
Yeah, thank you.
I think if you haven't seen it, dude, I think you're going to really like it.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Now, one of the additional things that just as I'm reliving this again, one of the different scenes that popped up was after the light came in through the window. It was this really bright white light, but it was soft. Doesn't hurt your eyes. And I remember getting drawn towards the door, and the door was open. However, there were two or three small short grays in my basement, but they were translucent and they weren't like solid. They were there, but they were like, kind of like what you would see would be a ghost.
Thomas, I don't mean to interrupt again, but she says the exact same thing you're saying in that episode. Exact.
Wow.
The plasma-like beings, the light coming in through the window. Dude, you got to watch it. Episode 10.
But the biggest thing that I haven't seen yet is someone talking about that feeling of euphoria that just floods across your body. And when it does, Daryl, you don't care a shit about anything because it's just this feeling of just like, oh my God, it's better than any orgasm you could ever have. And it's going over your entire body. And you're just like in this state of suggestion where you're just feeling great and you don't care what anyone tells you. You're going to go ahead and follow them.
Did you float above your bed or anything? Were you like floating?
I remember floating going up.
Dude, I'm telling you.
But I remember, though, falling literally from the blackness down into my bed and hitting it and then opening my eyes awake. And was the end of the nightmare that hit too many times to count.
And there was she noticed a time. She noticed the time when it started happening, when it was over. There was like a moment of time. We got to watch that thing, man. If you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Same thing. Sounds exactly the same.
God, even when I'm breathing in, my breath is like, kind of like, it does it to me every single time I put on the kid face and I jump into it. And I did this for Halloween, and not a lot of people talk about this stuff, but I figured, this is a great opportunity to go ahead and, bring it out. Once a year thing. God, I'm surprised we don't have more questions from people in the audience.
Well, I told you, Mel Ramis has been sharing his abduction story and what he was dealing with and the direction that it went in.
Yeah. Now,
and
Chris,
Daryl, when
Chris
we go
says,
in the back, you can play that episode.
Chris says, I'll wait for the proof. That's the problem. That's why I don't talk about this a lot. Is because besides the memories that I have, there is no photographic evidence. There is no multi-sensors going ahead and picking it up. All I have is the memories that I have as a kid growing up and the shit that I went through. So take it with a grain of salt. You can believe it. You don't have to believe it. I'm just sharing what part of the stuff is that makes me who I am, and more importantly, why we do Disclosure tonight on a regular basis.
Thomas, can I ask, did you share this with your family?
Yeah, I did. They have no explanation for it.
Gotcha.
I was hoping something happened to one of them, but none of them have memories of shit that went on. The only one who I could potentially ask who may have been involved was my freaking crazy brother, but he's been a ghost for years. He had stuff he needed to take care of after he died. He didn't want to leave. Love you, Jeff. All right. Did you experience the Oz effect at any time during the events? What is the Oz effect?
Good question. I've never heard that term.
I've never heard that either, Evan. You've got a question. Let's go ahead and get it there. Happy Halloween, everybody, by the way. Oh, sorry, Geraldine. Yeah. But if we don't talk about it, right, we'll never get to the bottom of it. Ever. Oh, the silence. Did you ever experience the Oz effect at any time during the events? I believe what he's talking about is silence. You know, I brought that. That was one of the first things I brought up, was that I have no memories of sound whatsoever. It's completely silent until the point where my dad is running down the staircase, yelling, "What the hell are you doing, making so much noise? Get your ass back up to bed." That's the only noise I remembered for the entire thing. Besides that, everything there was no noise. It's like whatever was going on. I remember screaming, "Stop. It hurts. I want to go home." But when they communicated with me, it wasn't something I heard here. It was something I heard here. Alexia was many times. It went on. I have never been able to come up with a total count, but it went on from the ages of being 5 till the ages of being about 8.5 for about three good years.
The term the Oz effect is coined in ufology to describe the experience of being suddenly and inexplicably transported or isolated from one's normal surroundings to a very similar but subtly altered reality.
Well, I guess that we could say that's what happened when the white light came in and everything got quiet and I went through the stuff. Mr. X has a question. Do you have a pulsating sound in your ear, a whooshing sound when they came to take you? No. What we had was a strong wind came out of nowhere on a humid night with absolutely no breeze or anything. So when the craft first came in, there was a gust of wind that accompanied it. And it was loud enough to wake my ass up. But after it got here, that's when everything changed. But I knew where to go. Not there. Anything else? All right. Bob Gray's. Yes. So, yeah, meet. I think we covered this pretty well, Mike.
Oh, it was a great Halloween show. And you really topped it off with your personal story of what you've had to endure.
It's something I don't talk about a lot, but
I know.
Sometimes we have to. Sometimes we have to educate the other idiots. I'm not here because I'm a failed reporter in a different area. I'm not in this because, oh my God, look, UFOs are popular. Let's go ahead and have a show where we can start interviewing people. No, the reason that I'm here is because the shit that I went through. And I think it's important that we all need to get through it. And that's why we cover the news aspect of it. More importantly, that's why we cover a lot of the stuff of what's going on for disclosure, because it's a cover-up. And we need the answer. If anyone knows what's truly going on, it's the government. They've been involved with it. They've been covering it up for the longest time. Rick Roberts, your hand is up.
Hey, I think you might have mentioned this before. So ever since that time, you feel that the phenomenon has followed you. Is that correct or no?
Hold on. Your voice came out a little shaky. One more time.
I think you might have mentioned this before. So ever since the situation, you feel the phenomenon has followed you, right? It keeps an eye on you.
Yes.
I think you see orbs and things like that.
I see orbs on a regular basis in front of my house and stuff. And do I have a connection to them through consciousness? Whether I like it or not, yes. But the best part about that connection, Rick, it's bidirectional.
Has anyone else witnessed it with you?
What? The orbs?
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband, Luke, he's upstairs.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. We've seen them many times. I've seen them probably 2 or 3 more times than he has, but we've been out there together seeing these things as they're going along. And I generally
call
know.
Them in like Bledsoe?
You
think you can call them in like Bledsoe can call them in? Do you think it's something similar to what Bledsoe has shown as he calls them in?
Last time I tried to call them in, I'll never do it again.
Wow.
I didn't get the light show. I got the consciousness meld that I didn't never ask for and the download that I never asked for. And yes, we have a big event that's coming our way to the planet. And whether we like it or not, the humans and the non-human intelligence have to work as one together in order for us all to survive. And now that was about 4 years ago. And I've never done it again since. And I used a combination of samadhi meditation and chakra energy meditation, doing a whole bunch of different things on top of the access point to the water system for my city right underneath me, and leverage it as a giant amplifier. There's power in water, if you don't know. All right. How many ghosts are aliens and vice versa? You're talking about two separate things. Ghosts and spirits are one thing, aliens are another. Don't confuse them. Granted, they all kind of deal with the same kind of consciousness. It's two different things. Yes, I've done the Kundalini, and then once I've successfully opened it up, very interesting, yes. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I have tied back to ancient Hindu religions that I have no idea how a white kid who grew up in frickin' Chicago suburbs has all these ties back to ancient Hinduism, but I do. Did it come from the shit that I went through or something else? I don't know. All right, M&Ms are delicious. Yeah, the thing is, we didn't have any frickin' trick-or-treaters here come this year. Not one. We probably left the kitchen light off at the wrong time, but we still had our outdoor lights on like we usually do. Not one trick-or-treater. Usually I have like 20 to 30. I don't know what the hell happened this year. UFO Report has his hand up. Go ahead.
Do that. How do you make, then the next thing is I'll try to figure out how to, there we go, hand down. So yeah, MUFON Jim here. So question is, I'm pretty certain in the past I've had similar types of I guess you could say out of body, but it's been in sort of a hypnagogic state.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar, or would you say that most of the time that's just a hypnagogic hallucination, and it's you couldn't tie that into any type of...
Well, I learned how to go out of body at Silver Mind Control when I was like 8 years old. So yeah, that is completely different from anything I had during the abduction phase. That's a different skill completely when you go ahead, pull out of your body, leave it behind, and go up and go through the first door into the area. You go into the first spot that you can and go through another door, and that's where you go through it. I learned a lot of that stuff when I was 8, and it's a different skill. The stuff that I went to was actual physical things that I went through with consciousness aspect to it, but learning how to go out of body and stuff, that's just a different skill. Laura, you may be able to talk on that. I know she's familiar with that as well, besides me.
Okay.
Nope. She's busy. But you can learn it. Pretty much anyone can probably learn how to do it if you can quiet your mind, get down to the state, be able to turn off parts of your body and then pull up out of your body and go off and leave into your stuff. It's a skill that I probably would think most people could learn. You just have to put your mind to it and get yourself into the right place to make it happen.
I know I've done this thing before. It's a type of meditation, but it's more for relaxing. But I think it's like ET something. And you start with when you think you're tapping at the top of your forehead, and you're doing different pressure points until you get towards the bottom of your body. And then when you're done and you're breathing, you can actually feel a flow of energy. You go from the top of your head out through your feet. I don't know if that sounds familiar.
No, not really.
Okay. Different type of energy thing, but okay.
Exactly.
Just curious.
Well, apparently it seems like you're talking about an isolated incident, which i.e. is the man talking right now. That's not what I'm talking enough about. I'm not sure what you're getting at, Chris, but yeah, this is something that went on for a good 3.5 years, whether I liked it or not. Yeah. People can find stuff. They want hard proof. I can tell you what I went through, the memories that I've had, the traumas that I've been through, but that's about all we can get to in this. But I don't think you're going to be able to find any more from anybody else. Ask me for that matter. All right, Mike. Great show tonight.
Yeah, it was very interesting. A lot of good conversation, a lot of different subjects we covered. It was another fun Halloween, Thomas.
Oh, yeah. 5th one in a row, I think, at least, maybe 6. We've gotten through it. We'll keep on doing it again. I appreciate everyone coming out to this episode of Disclosure tonight. Let's get into this. Oh, God, what the hell did I do now? There we go. Move it there. A little bit there. All right, we got it. On that note, I want to thank... Get down here now. Yeah, I got to get so everyone can see it. I appreciate everyone coming out to this episode of Disclosure tonight. More importantly, let me go ahead and bring up and thank everyone for your wonderful super chats. Remember, Disclosure Tonight is a fan-funded program. We appreciate everyone's love and support for what we do here at Disclosure Tonight. Let's see, what do we got there? I want to thank the people for coming out today. Who am I talking about? For the super chats we got, let's bring it up. There we go. In reverse order, actually, order that they gave, Laura Campbell. Oh, gosh, I need to go ahead and fix this really quick so we can actually see this. There we go. All right. Try it one more time. Laura Campbell, thank you very much for your super chat. Daryl, thank you very much. Andy's beard, yes. Andy did get a shape of his beard, a little square at the bottom, but hey, it's a step in the right direction. Shelley Montgomery, thank you very much. Geraldine DeRazio, appreciate it. Rick Roberts, Liz W., Alice W., Shelley Montgomery, thank you very much for your wonderful support and everything we do here. Todd, Kane Northrup, and Gizmo. Thank you, everybody, for what we do here at Disclosure Tonight. Hopefully you had a fun time. Happy Halloween, everybody. Had to get that in there. Mike, appreciate you coming out here tonight.
Oh, my pleasure, Thomas. It was fun Halloween. I'm glad we got a chance to spend it together again.
Yeah.
And, it was very interesting and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Except for the end with your story. But aside from that, everything else was great.
Now I'm off to go ahead and look for nuns on Bourbon Street and see who can come up with the most in the evening. Yes, it's an interesting thing to look for, but there aren't that many, but it can be fun because it makes the competition more. Got to be wondering, what is the major costume people are going to be having out for Halloween celebrations tonight? I want to thank everybody for coming out to this episode tonight. And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure Tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but good enough. We'll catch you soon, everybody. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.